to introduce our first speaker, Slava Koltovich. This is, I guess, Slava's second year here. Slava, I've mentioned this before. It's very difficult to remember the titles of people at Microsoft. Every time, they got a very lengthy titles. If I remember correctly, lead group program manager, lead for AI and Azure Integration. Yeah, with that, I would like to welcome Slava. He's going to do the keynote presentation, and he leads the integration divisions within Microsoft. Of course, there's a lot of people, I hope you all enjoy the next 2 days, and I'm here for the complete 2 days. I would like to meet all of you. Thank you.
Hey everyone, my name is Slava Koltovich. Staravana said I'm a principal group product manager lead. I had to put it on the slide because I can never get the sequence right. There's too many words. Yeah, because of the tech, I missed an opportunity to get my morning coffee. So if I lose focus somewhere, blame the tech, please, not me. This is my second time here, so it's great to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces as well. So welcome, and thank you for joining us. So at the keynote today, I will be talking a little about the state of the integration, where we see it's going, and what are the trends that are affecting integration mostly today. And we will talk about what's new, of course, what's new in the Azure Integration Services as well. So things that we recently released and the things that we are working on or releasing as we speak. So the first thing I wanted to mention, and that's probably going to be the topic of my keynote, or the first part of it, is that integration is growing really, really fast. So in fact, it's growing faster every year as we speak. So you've probably seen some version of this slide or similar slide 2 or 3 years ago, but the numbers are changing every time. So with 38% year-over-year growth, the integration market grows faster, like 2.5 times faster than the overall enterprise software market, and almost 3 times faster than the application infrastructure, targeting $11 billion for iPaaS platforms just by themselves by 2026, which is a 2x increase from $6 billion that analysts reported back in 2022. According to the study that, or the survey that IDC has done recently, so integration and API management is one of the top 3 investments area that enterprises are going to put their money on over the next few years. And as you can see, so enterprises are also trying to diversify on the integration platform. So 75% of them are saying that they will use more than one integration platform in the future, as well as they are looking to significantly spend on the integration effort themselves. So 50% of the digital platform effort will go towards the integration versus the application development. And we see the similar trends when it comes to the API development. So according to the Postman report, 92% of the respondents, 92% of the organizations saying that they will keep the same level of investment into their API strategy or will increase it in the next 12 months. And the same, very similar number here, so about half of the respondents say that majority of their effort, of their development effort will go towards building the APIs. So what drives this explosive growth of integration platforms? So first of all, the accelerated pace of the digital transformation drives the explosive growth of the number of applications that we are building or are going to build. Again, according to a study done by IDC, we are looking to build over $1 billion apps by 2025, which is in 1 year, which means that in 1 year we're going to build more applications that we built over 40 years before altogether. And this explosive app growth comes with the challenges. So the apps growing by built on different platforms, on different technology stacks, by different groups inside the organizations, they are disconnected, the data is disconnected, and that all comes to the disconnected experiences, and as the result, slows down the innovation by itself. So organizations are looking to leverage integration platform to solve this problem and to build a solid foundation for their future digital transformation and digital innovations. So we are looking at the three major pillars. So one, which is the integration. We need to get all the applications and data together. So applications needs to talk to each other, which will ensure that the data is connected as well. And so that will create a solid foundation, not only for building the connected experiences, but also will help organizations to gain more business insight, competitive insight from the data that they collect through the apps. Composition gives us the chance to build, or give organizations the chance to build reusable building blocks, reusable applications block that then can be assembled through the integration platform or automation tools into the new experiences very, very quickly. And automation helps to build the new experiences easily and leverage the wider developer bench through the low-code or no-code tools. This explosive growth for demand for digital experiences also drives a change on how organizations are looking to build those applications. We see business taking a bigger and bigger role when it comes to technology and application development. So according to a few surveys that Gartner published, 73% of managers outside of IT today are looking to add more technologists, developers, IT personnel into their team immediately or in the near future. 67% of CEOs want more technology work to be done outside of IT in the business. And 40% of boards of directors said that they already moved the budget or digital business-related budget to business functions instead of IT functions as they used before. So organizations are looking to increase their pace, expand developer bench, and add agility by moving the responsibility for building new digital experiences to business versus relying on the centralized RT organization to cover all the needs that business may have now and in the future. What it means is that in order to sustain this demand, organizations are also looking to leverage the whole developer bench that organizations have. So the integration specialists or software engineers cannot by themselves, like in the central IT cannot by themselves deliver on all the demands. And so companies are looking to leverage citizen developers, line of business application developers, and all the IT personnel in addressing those needs. And they are looking on integration and automation platform to enable this enterprise-wide developer bench. Keynote in 2024 wouldn't be a keynote if I didn't mention AI. So we'll be talking about AI. So AI is growing very fast, right? So over the last 2 years, we experienced the unprecedented pace of the innovation in the AI space, and it transforms every business, every application, or will transform every application that we have. But AI also comes with the challenges. So the core of building the intelligent apps that are actually relevant to the specific organizations is applications and data behind it. Data that by very nature is unique to each organization. And so getting this data and connecting it to the AI engines is one of the challenges that organizations are experiencing today. Properly and reliably scaling applications that use LLMs and OpenAI services is another challenge that organizations experience. How you control costs, how you control who have access to the OpenAI, how many calls they do, et cetera, et cetera. And finally, this space of AI innovation also demands developer skills that can quickly adapt, prototype, and deploy AI solutions. And so as with the overall application growth, when it comes to the AI growth, integration platform plays an essential role in enabling those new AI experiences. So the integration by itself is designed to connect the data together and expose this data to the future solutions, and that's why organizations are looking to leverage integration in in building their AI-enabled digital experiences. And API management acts as the bridge between AI models and external applications, allowing easy access to AI capabilities. So let's talk about how Azure Integration Services help to solve some of those problems. So first of all, I think since we are more on the community event, so majority of you are familiar with what Azure Integration Services are. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what it is and going service by service, but what I wanted to highlight is that one of the biggest advantages that our platform provides in comparison to many competitors is that you have, as our customers, you have a full set of integration and automation capabilities that you can leverage for your integration tasks. On the other end, we provide the full flexibility where you can pick and choose only components that you need and replace them with the other components that may be outside of the Azure ecosystem if you choose to, or if you need to, and still pay only for the services that you use. Azure Integration provides extensive connectivity. I think our marketing, have hard time to keep up with the development pace. So the 800 plus out-of-the-box connectors that you see on the slide is actually turned into more than 1,000 connectors. So we need to update that. But the Azure Integration can connect to pretty much everything that you can think of, starting from the data sources to SaaS applications to business applications and beyond. We also provide the full set of capabilities to enable organizations to build composable architecture from the full API lifecycle management platform through IPM to functions that would enable custom implementation of those APIs, to Logic Apps that would provide an easy way to implement and abstract legacy data and legacy or business applications that you may have. And of course, we enable all developers. So Logic Apps provide the low-code integration solution, functions, through functions that can be extended to all the pro developers, and we provide the full pro development capabilities, which I will be talking about later. And you can also extend through the API endpoints, you can extend our integration platform to Power Automate to enable citizen developers to deliver on their low-code to no-code automation solutions. And because we are running on top of the Azure, we leverage all the investment that Azure team does in the overall compute and storage platform across all the services. And that comes with security, compliances, certifications, and everything else that Azure has to provide. So I think Microsoft spends billions of dollars every year on security with thousands of people working on this space, and we running on top of the Azure platform, leveraging those or inherit those benefits for free. We've been recognized as the leading solution by analysts for for a few years. Last year, I think, according to Forrester Wave, we surpassed a lot of our competitors like MuleSoft and Oracle and Tipka and Dell Boomi. We've been 6 times in a row recognized by Gartner as the leader in the iPaaS space, and 4th time in a row as the leader in the API management space as well. What we hear from our customers, and we also confirm it with analysts, is that the Azure Integration Services impact is real. So Forrester did a total economic impact study with us last year to see what's the ROI, what's the return on investment by implementing Azure Integration Services. And there is a lot of methodology behind this study and different types of organizations and scenarios that they reviewed. And you can read the full report, it's available online. But what they found out is that over the 3 years, companies see almost 300% ROI on their investment they did on implementing Azure Integration Services, with over 12 million benefits, direct benefits that comes with this implementation. And to tell you more about specific customer success or one customer success story, I would like to invite David from NewDay to the stage to talk about their journey with Azure Integration Services.
it doesn't work. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. Thank you very much. Perfect. Hi. So I'm going to move this over here slightly. I'm David. I'm the Director of Architecture at NewDay, and I mostly work inside our platform services vertical. So you probably haven't heard of NewDay, but there's a good chance you've used one of our products before. So we're a 20-odd-year-old credit business, and we've been operating as NewDay for the last 10 years or so. And as a business, our main products are credit cards. So from our own credit cards to, we've got cards on the market like Aqua, to store cards for retailers like John Lewis. We used to run Amazon UK's credit cards. We've done a lot of high street. We've done a lot of checkout experiences in digital. And we're really constantly trying to see what we can do to take our own technology and innovate in digital credit. So we run a mixture of our own credit products and credit brands. We run, as of last year, maybe 30%-ish of new credit products were powered by NewDay technology. Though looking through this room, I really doubt anyone here is here to learn about credit cards. So let's talk about the fun integration technology underneath it all. So our platform business has this diverse range of about 50-odd engineering teams, and along with it, the product and program management wrappers that go around it. So we're mostly a C#, .NET shop, but we have equal pillars of JavaScript and TypeScript. We've got Java, we've got Kotlin, we've got Swift, we've got Python across our estate in all the places where those languages are useful particularly. And we build most of our platforms REST API first on top of our own emerging developer platform. And then at the tip of the iceberg, we kind of build native web and iOS and Android experiences. Now let's press this button and hope it moves. It does move. Wonderful. So for the last handful of years, we've been working on building our own technology designed to answer one question, which is, what would you build if it were 10 years in the future and plastic credit cards didn't exist? Which is a particularly challenging question for a plastic credit card business to ask itself. And our answer to that is we've been working on this cloud-native revolving credit platform that's nearly real-time, that's mostly event-sourced, and deliberately tries to shake off the kind of nightly batch-processed legacy that a lot of financial services technology lives inside of. We're also a platform with a kind of Salesforce-shaped problem. So because we operate in regulated environments with different compliance needs around different international locales, we also have partners that require different amounts of isolation from one another. It's very, very different when you're talking to, for instance, a high street retailer or a tier 1 bank as to the kind of comfort levels they're at with sharing things like compute and storage. So we've been building out our vision for this kind of future of credit with our friends at Microsoft on the Azure platform. And we use a lot of the native platform features of Azure to do this, right? So our main product really is the technology we build, right? We build a full service credit platform. So there's a bit of a guide up there. So that means everything from payment processing and transactions to core accounting to collections, digital servicing and app experiences, all the way down to kind of anti-fraud and money laundering technology. Pretty much everything that you could imagine that you would need to run a credit business in a box. It looks like a bank, really, just with a minus symbol before everything. And the truth is we believe in the technology we're building because we run our own business on it. We trust ourselves for this. So what I want to do now is I want to zoom in on a couple of examples to illustrate how we use the Microsoft Azure platform to build future thinking capabilities for our business. So as I alluded to before, we have a pretty large number of engineering teams for a relatively small business. NewDay is around 1,200 people, give or take, and the engineering teams probably represent almost a third of that. About 50 teams and 300 to 400-ish people. So one of the challenges that we face, which I'm sure is familiar to any other technology shops, is devising a way to produce a uniform single API footprint at the top for partners to integrate with, while actually the real work to produce the functionality for our APIs is split across disparate program teams in deep vertical slices dedicated to their own subdomains. So for me, the developer experience of our partners really is the most important thing. So to us, it's important that we actually surface this uniform footprint, this single API route for integrators, because frankly, if we provided them with a disparate set of discrete APIs to call, not only do we honestly look like clowns, but Like we have to maintain the security perimeter of all these processes, and it's all a little bit of a mess, and people don't really know where they're integrating with trivially. So to solve for this, we've ended up using a lot of Microsoft's premium API management service, colloquially APIM, I'm sure, to everybody else, along with a bunch of GitOps-style scripting to stitch together our different downstream APIs into this one nice, clean entry point. In fact, we're in the process of extending this technique, so whenever any of our teams launches internal APIs, they automatically get stitched into a uniform path that represents their subdomain of the platform, just by virtue of the fact they're submitting their open API specs in the correct way. So that's really, really cool, and the nice thing is having this stuff all auto registered on the edge of the platform makes it really easy for our development team to interact with. So yeah, APIM has been really good for us, and we use it not only to marry up all of these different internal APIs, but also to deal with perimeter security. When you're working in financial services, there's a lot of our clients require things like MTLS or other supported kind of authentication techniques. And actually what we tend to do is we use APIM to validate these security credentials on the edge of the platform, and then internally use it to route the traffic to the different instances of our Salesforce-shaped platform. So people that are coming in for one particular partner might end up on our mixed tenant system, whereas the tier one banks will end up on their own isolated instances all through that one gate at the top. So the fact that we can do all that on the edge of the platform and keep the nitty-gritty detail away from our developers really helps lower the cognitive load involved in shipping and maintaining lots and lots of instances of effectively the same platform. So super important to us. In fact, that division of labor that we have, where different teams operate on different vertical capabilities, is really baked into how we work as an organization. So one of the most important ways that you can ensure you have great developer experience, really great DX, is to double down on the kind of documentation and specs that you share with integration partners. So we use our own internal developer portal as this kind of gatekeeping process to make sure that APIs that reach our customers, frankly, are high quality, consistent, and don't suck, and all kind of look the same. So teams are responsible for authoring and generating open API specs, and what they do is during their deployments they submit them to our review process in our portal team, and out of the far end of that process comes good quality documentation and also registration into production. So it's a really, really nice, slick process that keeps people productive. We're even making our first steps into sharing open API workflows, which is a newish spec extension. What that does is it helps document and automate the client generation of common integration journeys, so we can provide specs of common kind of workflows over our APIs. Super, super useful, and we surface that in our portal as well. So the process of authoring open API specs and workflows and then submitting them for review and automating the delivery is used both for our internal and our external developer portal. And the truth is we use this for our teams just like our partners would, because it allows us to dog food that process. We just see a little bit more information sometimes on the internal portal. So the cool bit, right? The cool bit about using APIM is whilst at a slightly lower fidelity than something we have a whole team dedicated to ourselves, you can get a lot of the way there with APIM out of the box actually, and the built-in support for developer portals and open API specs is pretty good, and you can kind of start doing this today yourselves. So I spent a lot of time talking about the web and the future, but let's talk about something really ubiquitous in financial services as well, the dreaded overnight batch process. As I alluded to at the start, our central challenge was to take something such as financial services, which is historically kind of slow, laborious, batch-oriented, and make it look at least like a real-time system. And I want to highlight how we use Azure Service Bus, in fact, as one of our batch processing in one of our scenarios to bring it closer to real-time. So we do collections as part of a credit business, the horrible bit. And we do our best to make sure that we treat our clients with care and the empathy they deserve. Not to mention, we have to adhere to various pieces of safeguarding regulations that are very, very rightfully put into place by the government to stop effectively loan sharking happening and customers being bullied by organizations. So as part of that process, we have to ingest from third parties a huge amount of data into our collections platform on overnight processes, right? Horrible old school batch processing jobs. And these are millions upon millions of records from disparate data sources. And the problem is we have to do it really quickly in about a 40-minute to 1 hour period at the beginning of every evening in order for all of the downstream systems that maybe are slower and less new to process the data in time. Because the last thing that we want is to call a vulnerable customer who has been marked as do not contact for protection reasons. And frankly, not only do we not want to do it, it's illegal. The second thing that we don't want to do, I say with all due respect to my friends in Microsoft in the front row, is pay Microsoft for running loads and loads of servers to do this all the time. Really, really, really bad. It's my bonus. So using Azure Service Bus, we're able to decompose this horrible set of batch files into lots of small individual messages. And using Service Bus's ability to scale up based on queue depth and CPU load, we're able to rapidly fill up our Service Bus instance with messages and have it help us auto-scale out the compute that's required to process them very, very quickly, and then scale it all the way back down when Service Bus's queues drop down to sensible limits. You know, this is a really killer feature of the Service Bus premium namespaces that give us exactly the capabilities that we need to take something that looks like a batch and turn it into something that could almost be mistaken for real-time events if you're 300 meters away and squint at it, right? So it kind of works. The truth is, while this is just one feature, it's complemented by Service Bus's general availability and resilience, and honestly has directly led to a dramatic reduction in kind of batch processing related errors over the last 18 months we've been running this thing. And because of this success, we're actually taking this same approach and we're building out a more general purpose kind of big data ingestion pipeline thing at the moment for future big bulk imports into the system. So that's really, really cool. Now, while these are by no means exhaustive examples of the kind of things that we do with Azure, I think they're interesting examples of where Azure has products that make things that were traditionally difficult problems relatively simple and trivial to achieve. Looking to the future, what we're actually doing, and I'll drop the AI thing in here as well, we're investing time in taking these same open API specs and workflows. And I don't know if anyone in here has seen kind of the research project Keynote out of Microsoft to generate auto SDKs. And we're trying to mash those things up to start building like living agents in our software that helps kind of build automatic integrations with our APIs for both our customers and in our internal apps. So maybe I'll come back next year and tell you how that went and whether it worked or not. Anyway, thanks for your time. I'm going to hand you back to my friends at Microsoft.
Thank you, David. That's a great transformation, and it's great to see, you know, that Azure Platform and Azure Integration Services were able to help you to advance your business. In the next segment, I would like to tell you more about what's next, what was recently released in Azure Integration Services, and what's coming, you know, what we're working on as well. So first of all, I mentioned in the beginning that one of the advantages of Azure Integration Services is the flexibility. You can pick and choose components that you want to use and only pay for those components. As David says, optimize the cost as well by doing that. But we also committed to make sure that when you use those components, they play well together and help you to implement your end-to-end integration and automation scenarios. So last year, we demonstrated Azure Integration Environment here at Integrate, and the Azure Integration Environment went in public preview at Ignite 2023. So what Azure Integration Environment provides, that's a single entry point or the single pane for all your things integration, code, configuration, resources. So it enables you to slice and dice your integration resources, your integration inventory into different environments that you can manage and monitor independently. So you can group them by landscapes, development, testing, QA. You can group that by functions, finance, HR, etc. Or you can do it by regions if you don't do it on the subscription level and so on. One thing we introducing this year, pretty much now, is the end-to-end monitoring experience for Azure Integration Services. So it goes to public preview, and you should be able to access it, if not today, then soon. Today? So you can access it today. So what end-to-end monitoring enables you to do is to analyze application workloads. So you can, as customers, you can collect or connect resources that deliver on your complete end-to-end integration scenarios, and then see the status of these workloads, troubleshoot failures, identify anomalies, and all without the context switching from the single screen for the overall application inside the Azure Integration Environment. And the public preview comes with support for Logic Apps, Service Bus, and Azure API Management. So please give it a try and let us know what you think about this new experience. Last year at Ignite, we also introduced business process tracking. So business process tracking allow you to add business context into your integration scenario, into your integration implementations. The way it works is that your SMEs or business analyst define what the business process should look like, or what actually looks like, right? So is it the checkout transaction, is the payroll process, or any other business process your organization may need to automate. And then developers would connect this business process to the actual, the logical representation of the business process to the actual implementation of the process using Logic Apps workflows, and would enable tracking of this business process for your business analysts and SMEs. The business process tracking currently is in public preview, and we launching some new capabilities to the public preview today, which would now allow the analysts to see the business process stage status, one of the most requested things after we launch public preview. And we also enhance token picker support to simplify the development of those business process tracking profiles. One of the things that a lot of our large customers require is to run in the hybrid mode, right? A lot of organizations, even when they go to cloud, when they embrace the cloud, still have some regulations, still have some needs to run the workloads on-prem in their data centers, or maybe in the other clouds. And so hybrid deployment for Logic Apps has been one of the most requested features by our customers and by our field for the last couple of years. So we've been working on that capability, and today we open it up to the early access preview, or today or next week, and with the plan to deliver the public preview for you all to look at it by this summer. I think Kent or Wagner will be talking about that in the more details, but what we actually enabling with this hybrid deployment model is for our customers to run Logic Apps workloads either in our cloud, in our managed service, or in the other cloud, or on-prem using our Azure Arc technology, which allows to containerize and run applications in any Kubernetes cluster. But the control plane and all the management experience will still be running on top of Azure. So you don't need to think how you deploy your applications to on-prem, how you manage them on-prem, how you set policies on-prem, etc. So for customers, this on-prem deployment just becomes kind of another deployment target, another service plan, if you will, if you wish. And so they can use the same management capabilities as for Logic Apps running in the cloud. We will open access to early preview, and if you are interested, please let us know, and we will prioritize giving access to our customers and community to that new hybrid deployment model of Logic Apps. We've been also investing into making the development experiences simpler for the overall set of Azure Integration Services. And last year, we introduced Workflow Assistant for Logic Apps that makes it easier to implement high-quality Logic Apps workflows and makes it actually democratize the Logic Apps development as well. So with the support of Workflow Assistant, developers can put together the Logic Apps by interacting with the Workflow Assistant and asking questions like, what capabilities should I be using here? How can I implement this scenario? What this workflow actually does if they want to modify the workflow that was built by someone else? And what are the best practices for building this or that type of scenarios? Which connector I should be using? Which action I should be using? And so on and so forth. So we The workflow assistant is available in public preview today, and we are looking to add more capabilities to it based on how you use it and based on the requests from the developers that we hear that interact with it every day. At the same time, we are committed to make Logic Apps standard a professional developer tool, and we keep investing into making the development experience, the pro development experience on Logic Apps better and better every day. With G8, a single click or one-click onboarding for Logic Apps for Visual Studio Code environment. So you don't need to think about dependencies anymore, about installing the right version of .NET, installing the right versions of functions runtime, of the local Azure storage, and et cetera, et cetera. So you just enable the Logic Apps extension for Visual Studio Code, and it will download and install and configure all the dependencies that you need in order to develop, run, debug, and test your Logic Apps workflow locally on your development machines, and then use whatever DevOps pipelines, the DevOps techniques, GitHub Actions, or Azure DevOps tools to get them into the actual cloud environment. We also made the later easier by generating the DevOps pipelines for you. The single click on the workflow will create files that contains the whole deployment pipeline that you can then modify and use to get your workflows into the development staging or production environment. We enabled the zero downtime deployment, which is in public preview right now. So you can deploy you can deploy your workflows the same way as you probably deploy your applications today. So it will use the application slot. You can deploy the new version of workflows and then switch immediately without any downtime for your customers or for your workflows runtime. And the one thing we wanted to show you today, and I'm sure Wagner will be talking about that later, is the Logic Apps testing framework. Our community put a couple of frameworks together a few years ago, so making it possible to build unit tests for Logic Apps, but there were some challenges on how you could write these tests and and run them. So we are working on the first-party Logic Apps testing framework that will enable both codeful and codeless approach. So people who prefer to use the visual designer or who just looking to put a simple set of use cases together can use our visual click-through interface to put together the tests for their workflows. If you're people who prefer to write code, the developers who prefer to write code or whose scenarios are more complex can use the full-fledged codeful framework to put together a set of unit tests and then use one of the preferred .NET unit frameworks to run their tests on their local development machine or as the part of their deployment pipeline. We also committed to make Azure Integration Services the best platform to migrate of BizTalk, and we committed to make this migration as smooth and as easy as possible. So over the last 18 months, we've been significantly investing in closing the product gaps as well as simplifying this migration path. So last year, we talked about architectural guide, BizTalk maps support, .NET framework custom code support, and things like Swift. Today, we're also happy to tell you that we release business rules engine into public preview. So if you or your customers use rules engine for your BizTalk implementation, we will provide you just simple, drop-in replacement in Logic Apps. So you can take all your rules and use them and run them as they are in the Logic Apps engine. We will also provide the native XML support for parse and compose on Logic Apps as well. So your XML-heavy workloads from BizTalk can be migrated to Logic Apps easier. A few things that we have in development, patterns library, so please contribute. It's important for customers and the rest of the community to understand how we can take the BizTalk implementations and move them to Logic Apps. And so this is something that we've been actively working in Microsoft with the support from the community, and we are looking for more contributions on that. We will also add WCF and SOAP support, so that's in development now, as well as connectors for the healthcare industry, MLLP and HL7. One more thing I'm excited to tell you about is the Azure API Center. We released the GA of Azure API Center at Build, and what it does, it provides you with the centralized API inventory management. So all APIs that your companies build or use can now be surfaced through the single pane, through the single entry point. And the inventory management mechanism will also ensure that all the new APIs that are built by your organizations will surface through the API center automatically. When you have all this API in inventory, so you can start applying the governance rules on it, like access policies. Maybe all your APIs have to be the specific format or have to be the specific, has to have a specific header, or tokens or things like that. And it also simplifies the discovery and consumption. So your developers inside the organization now have a single page where they can see all the APIs available to them. So that speed up significantly the development pace, because organizations don't spend time on duplicating each other's effort on building those APIs when those are potentially available. Azure messaging is the big part of our integration platform, and to tell you about some innovations in this space, I would like to invite Kevin Lam to the stage.
Hello, Integrates. I'm so happy to be here and talk about Azure messaging. And so just as a reminder, a key part of the Azure Integration Services is the capabilities that we have in messaging. And as you think about messaging, you really want to think about those messaging capabilities as opposed to a particular product. And in the messaging platform, we have message queues that's provided by Service Bus, and we have discrete event routing in Pub Sub that's provided by Event Grid, allowing you to do both push delivery and actually pull delivery, so you can do your own event-driven application development. Device management through MQTT if your devices and are speaking IoT to the cloud. Again, Event Grid provides that capability for you. Event streaming, a new common pattern that we're seeing in integration capabilities is folks using Kafka. And so our Event Hubs uses Kafka, and you're able to do high throughput, high speed streaming through Event Hubs. Then, of course, you have to process those events, and those are done through Azure Stream Analytics for our stream processing. And then finally, it all gets wrapped up in a message catalog to allow you to do governance around all those messages and events. And our messaging platform provides trillions of events per day and petabytes of data egress per day. And so we manage those workloads for you. And so we have the reliability and the security and capabilities all built into that platform. So as you think about the platform, you don't think about a particular product, but think about your capability and pick the right choice for the portion of your integration application that you need. And so I just want to give you a teaser for what we're going to talk about later today and tomorrow. And we're doing constant and continuous development on our message brokers, and we're going to be talking about Kafka and new things that we're releasing about the Kafka support and Event Hubs. We're going to talk about what we're doing with geo-replication across our message brokers. Emulators, I know, very highly anticipated. We're going to talk about emulators. The ability and the new things that we're adding with MQTT, our Pub Sub eventing system, and how you can do your own event-driven application development with our Pub Sub offering. And then how we're taking those capabilities and giving you a SaaS offering in Fabric, and you can do a lot of those integration types of messaging scenarios in Fabric as well. So I'm going to keep it there and leave it as a teaser for you for the sessions that we have later today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. So last thing I wanted to talk about, and I know we're running over time, but I will be quick, so is how Azure Integration Services help our customers to build the open API, the AI-enabled experiences. So I will start with the Logic Apps. Logic Apps recently released Open API and Azure AI Search connectors. So what we see our customers doing with it, basically two things. One, which is the first thing that comes to mind when you think about integration and AI enablement, is enriching their existing workflows and enriching their existing process automation with AI. Think about scenarios where you need to, move data from one system to the other system and let people to action on it, right? So the support ticket comes over email. You need to add it to the CRM system so someone can pick it up and work on it. So with the AI capabilities now, using the same workflow, just dropping one action inside, which is calling the OpenAI endpoint, you can add things like sentiment analysis, summarize the content, analyze more emails, and then maybe even provide the guidance on what steps should be taken first to address the specific support ticket to the person who will be looking at it in CRM. So that's an easy to do, quick enablement or quick enrichment of the existing workflows and the existing processes that AI and these new connectors that Logic Apps release can provide. The other thing that we see our customers doing is actually using Logic Apps to build the new applications. And the reason for that is that the low-code capabilities and these connectors that Logic Apps has and those 1,000 connectors that I mentioned before to a variety of data sources make it relatively easy to build a RAG-enabled application. So when we talk about the RAG pattern, which is basically how you enrich your AI experiences, AI applications with your own data, so to make it relevant to your specific use cases, to your organization, we are talking about, generally two flows. One, which is ingestion. So you take the data, you tokenize the data, you get embeddings out of the data, and you drop it into the vector database for the future search. And the other flow is, when you are in the chat or when you are in some kind of the automation experience, so you need to retrieve this data, right? So find the relevant data for the specific user prompt. So you take the prompt, you generate embeddings, you do the vector database search, you get related segments, and then you send it over to the OpenAI. The reason our customers look at the Logic Apps versus, some of the other tools available today is the simplicity. So this is an example of what the same application looks like, implemented on Python versus Logic Apps. So a few thousands of lines of Python and Bash code is replaced by 7 blocks that you can put in the visual workflow designer relatively quickly. The best thing is not only how much time you need to spend by connecting or by implementing the initial ingestion pipeline, but how quickly you can modify it. So if you have to add another data source or replace data source, you would probably write as much code or almost as much code as you did it initially. With Logic Apps, you add one more connector to the actual workflow, and you can get a new data source enabled and can reuse the rest of your pipeline to tokenize this data and actually save it in the database. And this is the retrieval flow. Same thing, a few thousands of lines of Python code replaced by a few blocks on the Logic Apps. We actually had the challenge on how quickly you can build AI-enabled applications. So you can put together relatively meaningful scenario with Logic Apps in a matter of minutes. I mean, maybe not 5 minutes, but 20 minutes, 30 minutes, if you know what to do with this OpenAI connectors and Azure Search connectors. And we will talk more about that on one of the sessions today. But I just wanted to give you a glance of why our customers use Logic Apps when they think about OpenAI or intelligent apps scenarios. Azure API management also plays a key role in leveraging OpenAI and other LLMs. There will be a session from the Azure API team on how to use the OpenAI to enable those intelligent apps. And our GenAI gateway was also released at the build. But to give you the preview, so API management provides the full set of capabilities to manage your OpenAI endpoints or other LLM, to give your developers the professional way to scale their applications and their use of OpenAI APIs for your organization, to control cost, to control access, to control who have access, et cetera, et cetera. So wait for the session, we will give more details, but we see a lot of our customers are actually using API management, GenAI or GenAI gateway to as the proxy in between their OpenAI endpoints and their applications. And in fact, our Logic Apps support connecting to GenAI as well. And that's all I wanted to tell you at the keynote today. So we will provide way more details on all these innovations over the next few sessions, or over the next 2 days. Please join and learn. And we curious to see and discuss next year what you've done with our integration services. Thank you.